Welcome to the Indie Horror Junkie Podcast. Tonight, you will be joining Rotting Ricky and Asylum Amy as they play host to some of the true movers and shakers in the indie horror scene. So lock your doors, check under the bed, and get comfortable, because here we go.
And we're the Saska Sisters. And this is Indie Horror Junkie! Indie Horror Junkie! Indie Horror Junkie!
Hey there, Junkie.
Junkies, how are you, Rotting Ricky?
I'm doing well, Asylum Amy. How are you?
Good. I am back. I know you missed me, and I missed all of you, and I'm very happy to be back for episode number 89, you guys, of Indie Horror Junkie Podcast. Great show tonight lined up. We have Charles Edwin Powell on tonight as our guest. Incredible actor. We've promoted a ton of his films already, and then we're going to bring him on and let him talk all about it. He's got some great projects that you can watch now on demand, and some projects that are coming out this year. So we are going to dive into that soon. But first, we have our Indie Horror Junkie news, and lots of it, as always. I may not have been here for a while, but we have been busy behind the scenes. So lots of fun stuff going on. First of all, we have film submissions open for not one, but two film festivals. The first one we're going to talk about is ScareCon. ScareCon Film Festival is going to be in Syracuse, New York, September 5th through the 7th. The Junkies are going to be there running the show, so make sure you head over to scarecon.com and get your tickets for the convention, which gets you automatically into our film festival. Submissions are rolling in. The Junkies are watching them. We have an incredible panel of judges, as always. So if you have an indie horror short or an indie horror feature, make sure you get it in before the prices go up. Keep an eye out on our socials, because I'm going to hit it up soon and do some flash sales for you guys. So definitely submit your stuff, because this is going to be a really fun event. We've got some great guests lined up already. We've had some announcements already hitting the website at ScareCon and hitting socials. We have Alyssa Rose, Dave Sheridan, Daniel Roebuck. Who else? We got Rick Kane Hodder. Come on, you guys. Phil Falcone. Love this guy. Jesse Posey. Tyler Posey. Eugene Clark. Jonathan Stark. All these Fright Nights. Look at this go. Jeffries. Amanda Bierce. I cannot wait to meet her.
And just announced.
William Ragsdale. So, like I said, a lot's going to be going on. It's going to be a party. You don't want to miss out. Get in those film submissions. Hang out with ScareCon. Hang out with the Junkies. We're going to be rolling deep and having a great weekend. So make sure that you're a part of that. And we also have our film submissions open for the Indie Horror Junkie Film Festival held in Florida at MegaCon Orlando. You see what we did this year. We're doing again and going bigger next year, of course, because we're all sick in the head and we like to amp it up every time. So we are going to be out there. It's going to be March of next year. And get your stuff in. Shorts, features. We want to see it. We want to watch it. We've got our popcorn ready every night. Rick and I were just talking about some films today. So it's just a lot of fun. You want to make sure that you show up to these festivals, get your films in there, come network, come hang out. You never know who you're going to meet or who you're going to work with next. So that's what the indie horror community is all about. That's what these film festivals do. So if you're made your film, get it out there, you guys. We want to see it. What else do we have? We have issue number 17 of the Indie Horror Junkie magazine dropping this Friday the 13th. Look at that. We have our special edition, Friday the 13th. And we've got our buddy Paul Wiley on the cover. If you don't know him, you should. He is one of the hottest, no, he is the hottest composer and indie horror films right now. You know him from his score on the Terrifier films, from Stream. He has upcoming Stilettos film that he did. He actually did our score for The End that was shot here locally in Florida, and we're excited for you guys to hear that as well. So love him. He's incredibly hardworking. He used to be the lead guitarist for Marilyn Manson. So if you have a film that needs some music and a gorgeous score, you want to hit up Paul Wiley because he's your dude. He's crazy talented and he's wonderful to work with. And as far as highlighting our indie horror hottie, we have the lovely, gorgeous, beautiful, and talented Brittany Roderick. She has a film coming out, Winesville. We're going to be talking to her in a couple weeks on the podcast, but you can read all about it first in issue number 17. So we have a lot going on. Even our guest tonight, Charles Edwin Powell, has a nice write-up in there. You know, we just want to showcase what you guys are doing. Promote your films, promote your work, help you get the word out there. That's what the Junkies are all about. What else do we got? I know what Rick wants to talk about.
Well, yes, we won't talk about it much, but we definitely want to let you know there's going to be a big write-up of our next upcoming film, which is an anthology, called Reels of the Dead. We start filming it this November, and it'll be premiering early next year, and we are so excited. We're bouncing off the walls. Can't wait to get the engine started and the wheels roll. But that's what we've been working on. So definitely pick up the next issue. You'll see a big 2-page spread that'll give you all the details, the synopsis, what we have planned, and we're very, very excited about that.
Very excited about that. It's a really fun wraparound story. The wraparound standalones in itself. We have 3 short films inserted. One of those will also be an Indie Horror Junkie original. And good evening, Mary. And if you're not sick of us now, you're going to be sick of us because we're writing and we're directing and we're producing and we're starring and we're bringing in some other incredible talent that you're going to want to see. And this is for you guys. We're going to make it bloody, and we're not gonna skip out on that. So we have some fun announcements as far as who we'll be working with coming up soon. But that's kind of all that we're going to share with you. We're just going to make you wonder what's going on. But we are working. We're super excited. Locking down locations, locking down cast. We're going to locking ourselves down to just make sure we're ready to go for November. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're really excited to get back on set together and make some movie magic. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And I say let's go ahead and bring on our guest tonight. We're going to go ahead before we bring on Charles, and we're going to show, there you go. Look at all those titles. So much fun. Blood everywhere, you know? Why not? We're going to show Stream, which he starred in as Roy Keenan, a.k.a. Final Dad. So let's go ahead and roll that out, bring him on, and get this party started.
All right, here's the trailer for Stream.
Why don't we go away tomorrow? It would do the whole family some good.
Okay, let's do it.
Welcome to the Pines.
This place isn't half bad now, is it?
This inn is about spending quality time with the people that you love, because you never know just how limited that time is.
Showtime! Everything's locked up.
Every door in this damn place is that way.
So we're trapped.
You and I need to figure out what the hell's going on.
Tonight, we are running a game.
Eliminated.
That each of you have unknowingly signed up for when checking in. Our game is a rather unusual one.
Double kill.
I would be remiss if I didn't welcome our 4 all-stars. It is now a competition. Style points.
300.
More kills equals more points. Creativity counts. Games are as old as the world.
What are you talking about? A game? These are people's lives, for Christ's sake.
You have an audience. Blood on the ground means points on the board. Buckle up. Warm-ups are over, ladies and gents. Let's go!
We hope you enjoy your stay here with us as much as we will.
Happy hunting!
Wow.
What a fun
So
trailer
much
it is.
Don't tell me how it ends.
Welcome to the show, Charles. Thank you so much for hopping on with the Junkies tonight. We have a lot to get into, but let's just dive into stream. Like we were just talking about in the pre-show, Rick and I went and saw this in theaters with some Junkies here in Tampa with Daniel Roebuck, and it's such a fun watch between just the energy and all the actors they pull together. This is such an incredible cast, you being one of them. The practical special effects, the kills are just off the charts fun. So let's just dive into it. Let's talk about it. This was your first film after a 13-year hiatus. So, you did your job, you landed, the audition, then you landed the role. Tell us all about it.
Yeah, it all, once I decided to get back into the industry, this was one of the few auditions or first auditions that I had read for. And I honestly, once I read the breakdown and realized that this was kind of a lead, I just kind of dismissed it and said, this is just not going to happen. I haven't done a film in 13 years. There's no way in hell they're ever going to hire me. So did the audition, sent it in, and sure enough, heard back from Steve and Mike, or Jay and Mike, and then got the callbacks. I think there was two more callbacks after that. Then found out that I got the gig. So yeah, it was I guess a typical audition story, I suppose.
So cool. And you guys filmed this back in 2021?
Yeah, it was right in the middle of COVID. I don't really know how many productions were up and running at that time, and it was one of those situations where I think the location gods were smiling down on the Fuzz guys, because when you pulled up in front of this hotel out in Gettysburg, you just kind of went, this hotel is going to be a character in the film. I know it's been redone. The outside of it's been redone since then, but the fact that they pretty much gave them carte blanche for this wing of the hotel and said, guys, just try to keep it down because we do have people staying here. So try to kill people quietly and keep the blood, keep the blood in the hallway, and we're going to be good. But once you started exploring that hotel, there was a vibe going on during that shoot that I don't know that you could have recreated without that particular that particular hotel.
That is so cool. You guys definitely lucked out with that. There's nothing better than just having a one location shoot. We actually filmed a feature film that we haven't released yet a couple years ago, back in, I think it was 2023 we filmed, called The Inn. And we lived in that motel for a little over, it was almost a full week that we lived and filmed there. And it was the same situation. Like, we still have guests here, but just keep it down and clean the blood up at the end of the night. And we would spend like an extra 2 hours after we were wrapped, all the producers just scrubbing everything clean. But there was nothing like it. You just got to work there and sleep there and wake up and go. So
well, that's what it was. We were shooting and literally staying right inside the doorway, and you step out in the morning and get coffee and realize they're still shooting in the hallway. So just wait for somebody to scream at you, and okay, now we can go across.
It's an experience, right? And the cast is crazy. Let's just talk about a few of them. Besides you, Jeffrey Combs, Danielle Harris, who plays your wife. We're gonna get into that. Dee Wallace, Danny Roebuck, Tim Curry, Tony Todd. So you guys just had this whirlwind of a cast, and the way that everybody came together, it just made the story so much more elevated. The excitement of seeing these, people that we love and we love watching all these years, and now they're all on the same set together. It's so much fun. But let's talk about what it was like working with Danielle Harris.
She was fantastic. We had about 3 or 4 days together, right towards the beginning of the shooting. We had started off in Maryland, and I think we had a couple of shoot days there, and then we transferred over to Gettysburg. But I'd never met Danielle before, and I can't say enough nice things about her. She was fantastic. She was so easy to work with, and it was strange because when people were coming in from LA, New York had already sort of gone through that whole COVID thing that we were going through, and I think it was moving west at that time. So when they were flying in, it was really interesting to hear their perspective of things, because it was almost kind of like we have already gone through sort of that part of it, and we're moving forward. So it really was a kind of a sort of, there was an underlying level of tension just because we didn't know what was happening.
Right.
But, with SAG, it was important that everybody got tested when they showed up before they left. So, I mean, I myself probably had 7 or 8 COVID tests just in the 3 months that I was shooting.
Yeah.
And nobody got sick, knock on wood. They did a fantastic job. Nobody missed a day. They got sick, and it was wonderful.
And we're so happy to be past all that.
Knock on wood. Yeah.
And, just be able to show up to set and do your job. But I think people are a lot more cautious and respectful when it comes to sickness and etiquette these days. Well, you just stay home if you're sick.
Right.
But Danielle is so nice. Was lucky enough to get to meet her at Monster Mania. Monster Mania is such a fun convention. So that's cool you got to meet her there. I actually got to meet her when she was down here for Spooky Empire in Orlando, Florida, their 20th anniversary. I think it was last year or the year before. I don't remember. But got to meet her, and Scout Taylor Compton was right next to her. So that was a fun group. But that was just such a fun film. And you guys are going to be all together this coming weekend at Days of the Dead in Indianapolis. They're having a huge, I mean, you guys know Days of the Dead, and they're like in every city every weekend. But this is going to be a great show. So it looks like it's going to be a party. The biggest cast reunion yet I saw posted. The biggest amount of cast that's going to be in costume. They're going to have players 1, 2, and 3 there, I believe. So you guys are going to have a great time. I can't wait to see pictures and hear all about that.
I'm looking forward to. I'm actually flying out tomorrow morning and heading over there. But it's the first time I'm actually going to Indianapolis. Like we were speaking, I met you originally in Edison, New Jersey at the other HorrorCon there. So this will be my second, and I'm definitely looking forward to getting out there. I'm hearing a lot of horror stories already, so I'm looking forward to being a part.
That is a lot of fun, and it's just like a big party, like you see, like during the day and during the night. It's just everybody's there to have a great time. They're there for the fans. The fans show up. With the coolest part is you're going to see a ton of cosplay for your film for Stream. I can't remember the last convention since Stream that I've been to that I have not seen people dress up as players. And that's, I think for you, that has to be so surreal to be like, oh my gosh, there's these people and they've just taken on, the entire cosplay experience of our film. So
I remember going through the screening part of it initially, and just people showing up in the costumes then, but before the conventions even happened. The film had just come out. So I was pretty amazed at that.
So cool. Fuzz, those guys, they do such a great job of marketing, and they have built that reputation, and they have that cult following in the indie horror community. So anything that they put out, everybody's eyes are on it. So it makes sense that they were having cosplayers before it even came out.
Oh, yeah.
We got our first question for you of the night.
All right.
Let's see here. Question for Charles. Do you regret taking that long of a break? Does it make it harder to get back into the industry?
Boy, that is a fantastic question. The short answer is no, not at all. At that time, my break was due to, we ended up having twins when our kids were born. So I decided to take a step out away from the industry and just sort of focus on being a dad for a while until they were old enough to just need a credit card on the phone and a ride somewhere, or they start driving, which now they're driving. They'll be 18 this December. But no, it was I think honestly that break, and I was actually talking about this with my wife years ago. I think it's grounded me as an actor. I think you have a lot more to draw upon than I did before the kids were born, because your life is no longer your own when you have kids. And it's funny because I remember when the kids were little, and I've never missed an audition in my life. I've been late to a few, but over my entire life, I've never missed one. And I remember having the kids in the car seats, and I'd already missed one because I wasn't going to drive into the city with the kids in the car seats and sit in the room. So that's when my agent at the time said, well, why don't you just do what you need to do, and the industry will be here when you get back. And so 13 years later, I looked at my wife and I said, I think I want to get back into the business. And so she said, go for it. And so as I'm learning how to get back into the business, COVID hit. So it actually gave me time to understand what this term self-tape meant. Because when I was working, there was no such thing. I'm sorry, let me correct myself. The self-tapes that I was aware of were when A-listers weren't getting the auditions that they wanted. So they went off and made a tape and would submit it directly to the casting director, or the director, or producer. And that term I knew. But by the time I got back into the business, nobody was in person. And I'm not really sure what the situation is now, but everything is done online. Everything is self-tape. It's self-tape, and the tape goes into the black void and you hope somebody watches it. But it really took me a long time to understand how to do this. Because, I go back and I look at my early stuff, and, honest to God, you give me a newspaper and I hold it up and it looks like a ransom video with the lighting, and all I need is, just send help now. That's all I needed. I wouldn't have hired me. So I thank God that, over the last, about a year later, I kind of evolved into understanding what people were looking for and what it's supposed to look like. So when you're figuring it out on your own, it's kind of weird.
Well, it was a weird curveball. It was a learning curve. Like I took classes on it. I took online classes, and here's your setup, because I, at the time, was going to someone's house, another seasoned, SAG actor who had been doing network and TV films and studio films already. We just happened to train in the same studio, and he was putting all of us on tape. I was driving an hour one way to go to his house. So every time I had an audition, I'm driving an hour, doing the tape, paying, and then coming back home. And then so everybody started kind of doing their own thing. So now I'm actually sitting in my self-tape setup right now. I just set it up for podcast. But now everybody, if you're an actor and you're constantly auditioning, you have to have the setup at your house, because you get an audition and sometimes they need a quick turnaround. You got to be able to just turn your light on and go, and have a reader. You can have a virtual reader. You can have living there, or have call somebody in. But you have to know how to do it. It's an art on its own, because back then you may have done a tape, but the callbacks before COVID, you had to hop on a plane and fly there on your dime, and you might have not booked it. So you're flying out there for your callback out of pocket, and you either book it or you don't. And either way, you're out of that money. It's like a blessing and a curse. It's because you want to be in the room with these casting directors, and you want to be in person, and you miss that. You miss it so much. But at the same time, it's more convenient and more cost effective just to be able to do it like this. But that's just kind of where the industry went. I don't see it going back.
I don't see it going back either. And my situation was very similar to yours. I actually Googled, readers near me, like self-tapes near me. And I was fortunate enough to meet a lady who runs an acting studio out in Huntington. She's become a very dear friend of mine. Take Two, plug, fantastic school. If you guys are out there, go get it. But Regina really kind of walked me through a lot of things, and much like your situation, where you don't know what you don't know until someone shows you, no, this is really what you need to be doing. And then you go, okay, well, now it's starting to make sense.
Yeah. And every casting director has different instructions. It's the whole thing. And you got to do it exactly the way they want it, or they're not looking at it. They don't have time. They have hundreds and thousands of submissions.
And now it's even more. Now it's even more because everybody's at home. So since you're not going in, they can probably see 2 or 3 times more than they could in person. I do miss the in-person stuff.
I know of major casting directors for network TV that if you label your file wrong, they won't even look at it.
I know.
Questions here. Let me get one of them in here, and then we'll bring the other one up a little later on. What is the difference? This is from Tarot Cards. What is the biggest difference you have seen from 13 years ago to now in the horror industry?
Oh my God. The effects, probably practical effects. Yeah. I was very fortunate. Again, I'll just with Exorcist III, everything was practical. On that set. Jump forward, how many years is this now? 30 maybe. I don't even know. Something like that maybe. I think a lot of it's gone AI, a lot of it's gone digital, and I think there is a push to maybe go backwards a little bit with the practical effects, even though I know AI is pedal to the metal, going headstrong and just pushing everybody out of the way. But watching Damien work on stream, you just kind of say, well, and Mike is kind of known for saying this. He goes, it wasn't written this way. But when you have somebody like him working on your set, you kind of say, okay, here you go. What do you want to do? And how can we help you do what you need to do?
Right.
And just let him do his thing. But I think that's a short answer, a long-winded short answer, I think, to answer that question.
Especially in indie films are really doing the practicals.
Yeah.
They're
And
definitely
a lot of people want to see that. I mean, like, and the Terrifier guys are incredible with what they're doing with, like you just said, Damien. So I think that in the community, I think everybody's pushing for more practical effects, even though AI is coming on strong. But if AI, to me, if you use it to enhance some of the practical stuff, to me, that's where the best thing. Like, to me, Mad Max Fury Road, that's one of the biggest examples. Most all of that was practical, but they used some AI to enhance certain situations, and that's when it's best. But eventually, you won't be able to tell the difference.
Right.
Another good recent film that was not indie was Eli Roth's Thanksgiving, and they had a ton of practical special effects in that, and it made it feel indie because it was so practical and it was a lot of fun.
Really good.
So we are talking about the Exorcist 3. Let's kind of go back even further to that. So you scored that role. That was like within the first year that you moved out to Los Angeles, and that was the first film, the feature film that you worked.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I hadn't. Well, yeah, I hadn't. I don't know that I had been there 6 months, to be honest with you. But I just remember getting the call saying, "Hey, would you be interested?" And they approached me as a stand-in, like, this is what you would be doing. And I'm like, I just got here. I'll do whatever you want me to do. Right. So I went into the casting office, which was right off the lot at I believe it was Sunset Gower in Hollywood. And while I'm there, she hands me this piece of paper with a monologue on it. And she said, would you mind just looking this over as we walk across the street? I said, okay. So I'm looking it over. And then we get to the studio door, open up, the bell rings. And the first person I see is George C. Scott standing there with a gun. And I'm kind of like, okay. And I'm just kind of looking. They're just like, hang on. So they yell, cut. She walks me around the green room. She said, look over this. Somebody will come in and work on this with you. So I said, okay. And I'm thinking, this is not a stand-in. I don't know really what's happening here. So I go over the monologue. This gentleman walks in. He said, would you mind reading the monologue? I said, sure. So I read it. He said, okay, great. Can you read it just a little bit slower? So I read it slower. He said, okay, thank you. Only did it twice. He said, thank you very much. He left the room. And then when they yelled cut, we left the room and walked back over across the street to the casting office. And it wasn't until I got over there that I said, what is this? What is this for? This is not a stand-in. And she said, well, what they're looking for is someone to play Jason Miller, because they're doing a reshoot for The Exorcist III. And there is apparently, I didn't know that, but apparently there's no exorcism in The Exorcist III, the original cut. So they're financing a 4-week shoot. And they've only got Jason for a handful of days. They've only got George C. Scott for a handful of days. I think they've got Nicole for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it was. But they need Jason for the entire shoot. So you would be playing Jason Miller for the rest of the film during the reshoot. Wow. I said, okay. So when I got the job, they said, you just need to be here. So fast forward a little bit. Once I got the gig, I was the first one on set a lot of times before they had even unlocked the trailers, because the makeup took, I think, about 4 hours initially to put it on. And between, Bill and Mike, those guys did a phenomenal job. Most people, when they saw me in makeup, did not know it was not Jason. In fact, they would approach me as if I was Jason. And he'd already wrapped. I mean, he was gone by this point. But he was kind enough to share some of his time while he was still working. Let me sit in, watch his mannerisms, just kind of get a feel for how he moves in the straitjacket, moves around in the straitjacket, how he delivers the dialogue. And after that, it was just kind of like fire and snakes and straitjackets for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, we do have one image here. I'll show everybody.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
There you go.
So cool, Charles.
Yeah. That makeup, though, I remember there was a couple of times, and Bill's fond of telling the story. And we would go to lunch off the set, just kind of walk around, and it was right there off of Hollywood. It wasn't far. We'd go to like Cat and the Fiddle or whatever the heck was over there, and people would walk up and ask me for an autograph as if it was Jason. So that is how detailed and accurate that makeup really was. Yeah,
Incredible. And so you were there for, you said 2 weeks?
No, it was almost 3.5 weeks. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And they were long days. The first one and the last one out, I never saw the sunshine. I think they got the makeup down till about 2.5 hours by the time we were kind of into it, about a week into it, 2 weeks into it. But after a while, with the makeup and the flame bars, working around those as much as it was, it was starting to really affect your skin, and that's when things kind of can go a little sideways. But the makeup guys couldn't have been great. It couldn't have been better, and I got a lot of respect for them. They knocked it out of the park, because you can't really tell the difference. If you see that picture, you think it's Jason.
Yeah, the detail just.
And it's all appliances. I think it was here, and here, and then a wig, and then the contacts.
And like, how surreal for you just getting out there and then having this kind of opportunity? And
I was just happy to work.
I was just walking in the door and seeing George C. Scott. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, I realized very quickly this was not a stand-in. But again, they were very quiet about it. They were very hush-hush. And, I wish I had more detail then, but this guy just falling off the truck and getting a job in LA, I'm not part of any behind the scenes conversations, with the shooting and I'm just, once you get in the makeup, you're locked into that straitjacket.
Literally rolled on the set.
Yeah. Yeah. And then once they lock you into that straitjacket, they dump the 13, 14, 15 snakes on your head, and then they say action, and then they actually had a Cobra Wrangler there.
A Cobra Wrangler?
Yeah. So it was
did you have any kind of fear of snakes, or did you happen to just be able to do mind over matter? And
I was on such a high being on that set. And working again, going back, people are going to say who, but Nicole Williamson was always Merlin to me. He was the guy with the voice from Excalibur, and when he speaks, you hear Merlin. So I'm in here behind all of this stuff on my face going, that's Merlin. This is so cool. This is so freaking cool, But
I love that. I might have had a moment with the snakes, but I think you're right. If you're just in it, you're in it.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? I mean, you're shackled. You're not going anywhere. And they own you they own you for the next 3.5 weeks. So it's kind of like, but the biggest issue though was just the makeup and the melting and but it's all fine.
Yeah, that's a lot of abuse for your skin for 3 weeks.
Yeah, you sign up for it. You sign up for it.
Yeah, that's true.
So after that, you went on to land your first supporting lead role working with Roger Corman in the theatrical release of the Western Cheyenne Warrior.
Yes, playing opposite Kelly Preston, who played my wife. God rest, super sweet lady. It was very sad when she passed. But Kelly was amazing. I got to work with Dan Haggerty, who was coming off of Grizzly Adams. He was just this mountain of a man. Everything you would want him to be, he is. He is exactly who you would imagine him to be. And then I got to work with Clint Howard, who actually got to walk me through a couple of things because, again, being the newbie on set and being in front of the camera and having dialogue this time, I wasn't really sure what the protocol was to ask questions. And Clint's like, just go talk to him. Just go ask. You want me to go ask him? I'll go ask him. But just go ask him. So he really did kind of set the tone a little bit for me to exhale and to stop inhaling while I'm working. So, and to work for Roger Corman was something that I had been trying to do for quite a while, because just the sheer amount of work that man produces out of his studio, I figured what better odds to get hired than to just keep submitting into that studio. Somebody's got to bite.
Yeah.
And,
being Taylor Sheridan of that time.
Say what?
He was the Taylor Sheridan of that time.
Yeah. But he was cranking them out, and a lot of people came out of his stable too. Directors and actors went on to have fantastic careers. But no, Cheyenne Warrior was amazing experience for me, and it was nice because it wasn't real stressful. I mean, we had to deal with some of the valley fires every once in a while. The smoke would drift into the set because we were shooting out west into the valley. I don't remember exactly where, somewhere in Simi Valley maybe. But no, it's a fantastic experience, and it was nice. It's nice to have Roger Corman on our resume because I there's a little bit of pride there. I've always wanted to work for him because he's a legend in this bit. He revolutionized a certain part of this industry in that genre. So it was a lot of fun.
Do you remember the time frame from between Exorcist III and then working on Cheyenne Warrior?
I would have to look at the dates. The years I right offhand, I don't. I'm sure it's listed on IMDb. You know.
Yeah. I just didn't know if you just got out there and rolled from like one.
Oh God, no. Hey,
it happens. You never know.
No, I was taking classes. I mean, I had waiting jobs, and I was working at Jerry's Deli and during the day and taking classes upstairs at night over the bowling alley. It was just I did General Hospital a couple of times, 2 or 3 times while I was out there, but it was it's a grind, you know, and it's a grind because it isn't, but it is. You want to be there. You're asking to be a part of this industry, right? So it sucks, and if you don't embrace the suck, you're never going to last. And I had somebody years ago tell me persistence wears down resistance, and I think nothing is more true than being in this industry and having that mindset that, yeah, I'm not going to be right for everything. Could I do it? Absolutely. Yeah, I could do it in my sleep, but it's not what they had in mind. And once you get past taking that personally, then you can start enjoying the audition process. Then you can start enjoying, you know, the no's. You know, nobody likes to hear no, but you're going to hear it a lot. And if you're going to get in this business, you better be getting it for the right reason, because you're just not going to last. You know, there are easier ways in life to be abused than being an actor.
No kidding. If you can't get on board with allowing yourself to enjoy and appreciate that you even got that audition, and if you can't allow yourself to embrace the art of being, you know, in a class with other actors, working with teachers who've been in the industry for years. I mean, that is anytime I step into a class or I'm in another workshop or I get to work with a different coach for like an 8-week period. And, you know, I try to squeeze in what I can when I can throughout the year, because like you have to keep working that muscle. And, you know, so it's hard work because you've got everything else going on that you're managing, your house, your kids, your family, your job, like everything has to stay afloat. But there's that part of you that's an artist that you're like, I have to keep doing this and I have to work harder than everybody around me. And it's exhausting, but then you have to stop and tell yourself, like, I get to do this. I get to be in this room with these people. I get to work with this director and actor. I got this audition from an incredible casting director who saw something in me, and they've invited me back several times. Like that in itself is a win. And if you can't,
that's a win. That's a win.
If you can't be happy with that, go home and stay there, because it only gets harder. You have to love the process of before you even get on to set, because you're working already. That is the job. Your job as an actor is to be in class and to audition. That's the job.
If you can get an agent, that's fantastic. If you can get an audition, that's fantastic.
Yes.
If they say no, that's fantastic. It doesn't matter. They saw you. You got in the room. They're gonna remember. It does. A lot of my work earlier on was due to work. I truly believe work breeds work. Right. And if you can, if you treat people with respect, if you hit your mark and you say your lines, I don't know what else. It's not complicated. It really isn't. You know, and they're going to remember more about how you were to work with than what type of performer you are, right? Because the films are going to come and go. So if you're fortunate, they'll have legs and they'll stick around in the lineage of cinema. But so many films get made with so many well-known people that no one they're ever going to see.
Yeah.
But if you're fortunate to get that job, see it for what it is. If you're fortunate to get a callback, my God, God bless you. See it for what it is. That's a win. Check the box.
Yeah.
Seriously.
You know, because it's so hard to start looking in the mirror going, no, it's not working. It's because it's never going to work on your time frame. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen.
I say this all the time. It's the people who quit who don't make it.
Right.
You just have to keep going.
Yeah. No,
You
but
have
that
to trust the process and bust your ass every single day. You have to do something every single day and work at it and just work harder and harder and harder. And, it'll happen. It's not going to be on your time, like you said. But when it does happen, it blows you away.
I did.
So,
like Stream, I still kind of shake my head. I look at the cast list. I go, what the hell am I doing on this thing? Because you see all these people that you know. And you're kind of like, all right, well, I'm going to have to buy Mike a beer for this.
Let me tell you something, Charles. When after Rick and I were in the theater, we watched this film, I was like, that dad is an incredible actor. You were,
Thank you.
I mean,
I appreciate you saying that.
You did a phenomenal job. Yeah. So like when I started seeing you, like your name at these con appearances, I'm like, yeah, that's where he needs to be, because you need to get out there and you need to be on more sets, because you put the work in and it shows. You're an incredible actor. You're so much fun to watch. Wow. You just have your own, way about you that's captivating. And I want to see you in more stuff. You've got some more stuff coming up.
Well, I was going to say one of our regular commentators here, Howard, had a little piece of advice here for you, Charles.
What you got?
So you need to work with Mr. Rick and Miss Amy. They're great to work with. And I personally
get you down here to Florida. We'll have to make Fuzz come down here and do something with us.
Sure, absolutely. I've always got a bag packed. Like you don't have to ask me twice.
Exactly. We do a lot of fun stuff down here in Florida. So
we do.
You never know. But
I actually was in Florida not that long ago shooting a little short. But I found the film Found.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What part of Florida?
Yeah, we shot that in Plantation Village, something like that. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, it's hot down here right now. So
you want to show the pictures from Found real quick? I got like 3. So we got there's the poster.
Nice.
There's a nice.
This is all Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
Under the banyan trees.
Oh, that's probably St. Pete then, right?
Yeah, there was Max's home was tucked into this little big banyan tree. Actually,
the banyan tree is huge.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very cool.
When did you film that?
Let's see, October. I was September of last year.
Okay, very cool. All right. Love that. And then you worked with Fuzz on the lens again on Screamboat, and that was with Steve Lamorte was the writer, director, producer on that. His beautiful wife, Amy Schumacher Lamorte was the producer and one of the lead actresses on that. You have Fuzz on the lens, Mike, Jason Levy, Stephen Della Sala. You're working with all these people that you've been on set with before. So what was it like working on Screamboat? Because that is such a fun film. And talk about practical special effects. They did not skimp on that either.
No. I think, again, the location gods were smiling down when they got that ferry.
Yeah.
Because no matter where you walked, it was just like, you're not going to fake this. There's just no way to fake it. So they were, but no, I was there for a short period of time. It was kind of an in and out thing for me, but I got to meet Steve and Amy, and they're wonderful people. And
aren't they great?
Yeah, they really are. And Mike
talk
just
about passionate filmmakers.
Yes, yeah. And Mike just called me up and said, "Hey, I got this role for the dad. Are you working? You busy? You interested?" I said, "Yeah. When do I need to be there?" And that's kind of how that happened.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It was fun. Like we were telling you before the show, we had that movie. It was a fan screening that we had at MegaCon Orlando this past February before it hit theaters. And the word was already buzzing. Like we said, anything that Fuzz is a part of, they get the word out. They have their followers. And we were like, within the last hour, Rick and I looked at each other and we're like, we need more chairs. And so we were having, our junkies going like, get another 100 chairs. And thank God, right behind the theater in the hallway, it was this big industrial hallway that was lined with tables and chairs. And I'm not kidding. We pulled in an extra 100 chairs. So thank you, Dylan and Graham and Lance for bringing those chairs in last minute, because it was a packed house. It was so much fun. I mean,
yeah, I love the Disney innuendos that they had kind of sprinkled throughout there, because I really didn't have a chance to read the script, and I hadn't seen it until they premiered it here in New York, so I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I was very happy with it. I thought Amy did a great job, and Allison did a great job. Allison did a great job.
And listening for all those things, like with the girls there on the boat or whatever it is, I want to be where the people are. I love
and they really pushed the envelope. I mean, they took it far, but it was fun. funny. I mean, I was giggling the whole time. We also did, Rick and I did a fan, whenever you guys hit theaters, Rick hosted a screening in Tampa and I hosted one in Orlando. That's when we were trying to get everybody into the theater so you guys could get an extended release. And so to sit there and watch it with people who had never seen it before, they loved that. They loved all the Disney references. Like they went nuts for it. They went, nuts over the kills. And I won't tell you one of my favorite parts of it, but everybody laughed for that. So, but they're just a great group of people. There, you guys can watch Screamboat now on a ton of streaming platforms. You can, video on demand.
Isn't it getting a physical media release now? I thought I heard
they did. I believe that they did. Yeah, head over to Screamboat. They're great on their Instagram, their Facebook page, screamboat.com. Yeah, they had their physical release. I'm like 99% sure. So don't
pretty sure Blu-ray.
But I'm pretty sure it is. Their Blu-ray. I remember it's spinning on one of their promos. They've got shirts. Just check it out. It's fun. If you love a good horror comedy, it's got David Howard Thornton. Hello, Charles Edwin Powell. You're going to get a glimpse of him in it, you guys. It has Kaylee Hyman in it from the Terrifier franchise. She plays Cinderella. It's just a super fun cast. So check it out. So much fun. Another feature film that you have coming up is the Pitchfork Retreat. Now, I don't know much about this, but I did look it up. Another incredible cast and a lot of familiar faces that you worked with already. Tony Todd, Daniel Harris, Steve Wallace. So I want to hear all about this.
That film, we did that a couple of years ago. I got a phone call from Mike, and then I got a phone call from Greg. Again, it was a very sort of quick turnaround for me, a couple of days, but it was a situation where it was a new group of people that I was very happy to meet and to be involved with, because I didn't really know much about the project when I got there. And then it wasn't until I was on set that I started to see sort of the cast come together. And I went, okay, all right, I'm seeing this. I'm understanding this now. But yeah, we shot that. I believe it was a little bit upstate, like a couple hours up in New York. And it was with Gregory. It was a good time. I think it's supposed to come out soon, like maybe by the end of the summer. I'm not sure.
Cool. Can you share their premise with us and no spoilers? Just kind of give everybody an idea of what it's about.
I believe it's a story that has a group of people coming together for a particular story, a bunch of writers, and then they start dropping off one by one to see who can survive the actual story that's being written while they're there. I think, don't quote me, Greg. If that's wrong, don't shoot me.
No, we're gonna keep an eye out for that. Was that an indie film?
Yeah.
No, we're gonna have to call Greg up. Hey, Greg, we're gonna cover you in Indie Horror Junkie magazine. Bring you on the podcast.
Oh, absolutely. You're gonna love him. He's a great dude. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, you'll have to put me in touch with him. We'd love to cover that, especially if it's coming out. That's perfect timing. So get him in the magazine, and that is a cool idea. That's a really neat premise for sure. So you started off in horror. You're still in horror. It might be your thing.
Oh, I'm not going to say no to opportunities.
Might be your thing. I mean, obviously you're a seasoned actor. We could probably throw you in any genre and you nail it. But with this community, if they like you, they're going to keep pulling you in. So don't be surprised when you continue to book horror.
Oh no, I opportunities. Believe me, my door's always open, and I've always got a bag packed.
Seriously, you have to in this business. What you got, Rick? I thought you were looking like you were going to say something.
Well, first off, I asked, what was the name of that movie again?
The Pitchfork Retreat.
Mm-hmm.
Pitchfork Retreat. Okay. All right. Also, we have some pictures that you sent along. You want me to get and bring those up, and you can kind of explain to us what's going on in these pictures?
Okay, but I don't. Okay, sure.
All right. Obviously, we have the found. We went through the found stuff, so I'll go over here. That's obviously a nice headshot of you. When was that taken?
That was last year.
Okay. Then this is from a movie called High.
This is from a little indie film called High that should be coming out later this fall.
Nice.
Yep. We shot that in Austin, Texas, and then just outside of Martha's Vineyard.
Oh, Martha's Vineyard. Jaws, my favorite movie. Okay. And where is this at?
That's still right over by Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the lighthouse, but that's right there on the point.
Wow. Okay. And also we have a couple of from Screamers. I saw that on Netflix, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I heard someone saw it, so now I know who it was. Yes.
There you go. I'm your guy.
No, we shot that years ago. That was shot up north, and that's actually from Screamboat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I
And
jumped
that's Rumi. He's a great kid, talented actor.
Okay. And then we got a couple of pictures here from Stream. Obviously, we got the poster, but we got this one right here.
Yeah,
Final Dad right there, you guys.
I'm actually looking at Danny.
Oh, Danny Roebuck?
Yeah.
When he's posted up.
He's hanging from something, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
But that pool area was fantastic, though.
Yeah.
That we got to shoot in. It was just very trippy. That was the first day in Maryland, actually. That was one of the first scenes that we shot, if not the first take we shot.
Yeah. That's Mike Levy there?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And we got this right here. That looks like most of the cast. And Mike?
Yep.
Felissa Rose, Daniel
Danny, Bob,
Roebuck.
Felissa. It's Fong and Tim. Yeah.
Very fun.
Very nice. And there's Mike.
Yeah. That may have been the day I wrapped.
Oh, okay. All right. I see he's got Fuzz in the Lens hoodies. Gotta check that out. Yeah.
We're going to get you one, Rick.
Yes. Get me one. You hear that, Mike? All right.
Rick, we need hoodie. We need swag.
Absolutely. Oh, here we go. We got somebody else that loves screamers.
Oh.
There's two of us out there. All right, Howard.
Get off my back.
I haven't seen it. I didn't know about it. I have to check it out. Throw it in there in between the film festival movies that we're watching. As soon as I hop off here, I'm going to go watch some more film festivals.
You're never going to catch up, Amy. I got your list, and between the film festival and everything else, you'll be buried.
Oh, I know. He was like, Rick's always telling me like movies that I need to watch. I'm like, I cannot watch anything that's off of the film festival list because there's so many film festival movies.
You're not going to have time.
Which is not a bad problem to have, but it's just, you're watching a couple movies a night, but it's fun. We have fun and we talk about it and, what do you do? But outside of horror, you had a really fun booking this year. Law and Order SVU crossover show. Yeah. I don't care if it's not horror. We're going to talk about it. We're going to plug it, and I want people to tune in and watch it. So tell us all about that.
Yeah, it's that was it last month? I can't actually remember, but I've been a fan for the show since it started, and I probably read for the show 24 times. They would always check. I think they checked my availability every single time but one. And,
wow. So you were always right there.
And it's just one of those things where you got to believe you're doing something right because they keep calling.
Casting
and then I eventually booked the gig, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I was able to work with Mariska and with Chris the 2 days I was there, and I was like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, I can't believe I'm standing here doing this.
Yeah.
But Mariska was fantastic. Chris, he's a funny dude. Dude got jacked.
I know.
Yeah. Oh my God. He looks fantastic. No, he's a lot funnier than you'd probably give him credit for. He's got a great sense of humor, and I know he plays this badass on TV, but no, he's a pretty funny dude.
In the movies too, I saw him in Man of Steel.
Yeah,
and it's like he's something else, but he's a great actor.
Yeah,
and like I said, my mom watches anything that has Law and Order attached to it or NCIS. All 37 different shows, she watches all of them.
Yeah, that's about 30 years worth of programming right there.
Yeah.
Holy cow. So, but you were on set for maybe 5 days? Or
no, I was only there for 2 days. Three actually.
Okay.
And we shot down in Chelsea Piers. That's kind of where they do a lot of the shooting for the show. And then we were up in Harlem I was up there for a day. I don't know how long they were up there, but I was up there for a day.
So since you just shot a month or so ago, I'm assuming that episode has not aired as of
No,
yet.
No, it has. It aired. It's episode 26, 2619, 26. Episode 2619. It's a crossover. It's called Playing with Fire. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But it's streaming on so many different channels that I'm sure it'll be up soon. Even if it's already been on once, it'll be on again somewhere.
Yeah, there you go. So much fun, so exciting. It's always fun to book that network show and a crossover. Come on, forget about it.
No, I know. And honestly, I didn't really know what to expect. But it's like a well-oiled machine over there. They have all been working together for so long, even behind the camera. And Juan, the director, could not have been nicer and more fabulous as a director. So they didn't kill me and I didn't die. So you never know what's going to happen.
There you go.
No. Do you have any other projects you're working on this year that we can talk about?
I do. I'm working on a short upstate at the end of August with one of the producers from Screamboat. Pierre, he's going to do a sort of a proof of concept short for a film that he wants to flesh out, feature out.
Very cool.
And then as of these last 2 weeks, I've got 3 auditions out that I'm waiting to hear back from, and knock on wood, it goes well. Yeah. And I've got and even though I'm flying out tomorrow, I've got another audition that's due on Monday. So at some point, the Fuzz boys are going to have to leave me alone long enough to get this done.
Good luck with that.
While we're in
What makes somebody come and read for you in your room? I've had to do that. Like I'll when I travel, sometimes I will pack a little mini light, with like the mini one with the tripod on it, because you have like certain ways where you can just open up the windows and use the natural light, but then it's like, where do you put your phone?
Right.
So like I've just learned to shove a small tripod in my bag. And Rick will tell you, if there's a podcast and I'm out of town but I'm local, like I'm in Orlando a lot, I'll pack up like my light and my red light and my little table, and I take my computer and go. We streamed live from it was like the night before MegaCon. We had David Howard Thornton and Amy Schumacher-Lamorte and Stephen Lamorte on the show. And my setup looked like this. It looks like I'm in my room, but I'm in the hotel room. It's like you have this little travel kit and you go. You just can't leave without it. So if you can knock it out while you're out there, you'll have plenty of people to read for you.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, I know. We had auditions during the shooting of Stream, and it was great because you just go borrow some lights from set, and somebody's there to read, and somebody will film it, and it was good to go. Yeah,
never ends. And you're on socials. I know you're on Instagram, and that's just Charles Edwin Powell. There, you're easy to find. IMDb, of course. You're also on Facebook.
Correct.
But you got a lot going on. We're excited to, catch up with all these shows. And, before we go, let's ask like a couple horror movie questions, Rick. I know that you're good at that. I'm going to go ahead and ask one. What was your most, were you into horror before you booked Exorcist III? Let me ask that first.
The whole Stream experience was my introduction into the gory horror part of that world. I had always been into the psychological aspect of horror films, like The Exorcist. But then again, when Jaws rolls around, to me, that's a horror film, because when the head pops out of the bottom of the boat,
Rick's favorite of all time.
I lost it. I mean, I just got goosebumps when the head just falls out. I'm like, forget it. I'm done. I'm out of here.
Absolutely.
We love a good psychological horror too. So that would be one of your favorites, would be Jaws for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We're going to need a bigger boat. One of my favorite lines.
Who's not a huge Jaws fan? Come on, Amy.
Everybody's a huge Jaws fan. I had to stop and think for a second that, before The Exorcist III, how were you into horror? Some people will book a horror film and they've never even gotten into horror before. You never know. But I think once you're in it, you're a lifer. I think it's just with the community and.
Well, it's like I was saying before, I've never met a group of more amazing, loyal, dedicated, detailed fans to literally travel from convention to convention to convention to convention. And I got a buddy of mine that does Japanese anime, and he used to tell me all these stories about conventions. I'm like, you got to be kidding me, really? He's like, you're not going to believe it. Wait till you start doing it. And now that I've been there, I'm like, you were 100% right, and then some. They are truly amazing individuals, and that's one of the nice things about doing these conventions, and I'm so happy to actually be a part of it now, because you get a chance to see. Hopefully I can say this right. You get a chance to see what you're doing from a different perspective, because all you have is what your experience was going through it, right? You as an audience member has your own experience looking back at it, right? So to hear that, and what I like is, you don't always hear positive things, and I'm not saying that they're necessarily negative things, but as an actor, we try things, and sometimes we're like, all right, I wonder if that worked. I don't know. But to get somebody's point of view, like when they're coming into the room and you're introducing yourself, you don't really know. And I was telling Ricky, you don't really know which way that conversation is going to go. Mm-hmm. It could take off, and you guys could be there for an hour and a half. And that's my problem, because when people come in, I will hold them. Like, no, don't leave. Hang on. But we'll sit there and we'll talk forever. But then the light starts getting a little longer and longer and longer. And Mike will look at me like, let's go.
So you guys are going to have a blast this weekend. And David's going to be there too, right?
Yeah, and well, I'm sure all those Terrifier people are going to be out.
So wait till you see David's line. It's out the front.
Oh, I know. I've already
around the building, but what you're going to see is a ton of Terrifier cosplay, and I'm excited for you to see how much stream cosplay there's going to be, because I'm telling you, the past few cons that I've been to, I think I've been to 4 or 5 this year already. It's been lots and lots and lots of stream cosplay.
Yeah. No, I was shocked at how much I saw just in Jersey. Just walking around there.
Just wait. It's going to be
It was amazing.
We hope you have so much fun. So say hello to the Levies and the Fuzzies and give everybody a big hug, and let them know we're going to see them at ScareCon soon, you guys.
That's right.
ScareCon, September 5 through 7th. Going to plug that. Get your films in. Get your tickets to the convention. We're going to drag Charles out there and make sure he has a good time as well, since we're going to be in your state. The Junkies are coming to town. But thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. We appreciate your time. We're so excited for everything that you have going on. And we can't wait to see what else that you've got in store. Anything online that you want to promote, tag us in it so we can reshare it. You guys check out issue number 17. It's dropping in 2 days. There's an incredible article on Charles in there, and we have a lot of great stuff that we're covering in there as well. So
look at that nice spread there.
Awesome article.
Wow. I'm going to have to read
issue again. Paul Wiley on the cover. Just tons of stuff to cover. We have our back-to-back issues right now. For those of you who don't know, we have we drop every other month our magazine, but if there's a Friday the 13th like we have this month, we shove another one in there. So you got us this month and you got us next month. So just lots of indie horror news. There's a lot going on and more to talk about next week, and we'll see you then. But Charles, you hang tight. We're going to put you in the green room and give you a proper goodbye here in a minute.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for having me, Ricky. Amy, it's great to see you guys.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Another hour. We'll talk to you in a second.
We'll see.
All right.
And I was like, dang, I looked
didn't mean to cut you off there. It wasn't my fault.
No.
All right. Talk to you in a second.
So much fun. So many great films coming out soon. Thank you guys for joining the Junkies tonight, for hopping on and hanging out with us and talking anything and everything horror. If you like what you see and hear, head over to YouTube, like us, subscribe, and we will... Yeah, I got that issue. Awesome. We will see you next week for some more junkie fun.
All right. Take care, everybody.
Later.